Okay, now we're on page 17, and this is, a really big milestone for us because now we're playing with two hands at the same time. Before, in the previous episodes when we were learning chords, we were just learning with one hand, and then you saw me play, the singing part with my right hand, and we'll get to how to do that later in future lessons. But I want us now just to focus on the song on the bottom of 17 here, and it's a little out of season, but we are going to play Jingle Bells. And so looking at the piece here, we got our left hand playing, two notes, harmonic intervals, all throughout the piece. On measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only one note, and then measure 8. There's only one note. But for the most part, we're playing harmonic intervals. And remember, those notes, those are whole notes, so those get 4 seconds. So I'm going to be holding those throughout the entire time I'm playing the right hand. And so I'm going to play through it first, and then I'll go back and I'll walk through some difficult parts. So as you can see, there's a dynamic sign, right? Don't focus on the dynamic sign, but just be aware there's an F, so they want us to play this song loud. So I'm going to play through it. Lucky there's no double dots, right? There's that thick black bar, so that's the end of the piece. Let's revisit the left hand really quickly. I want to explain something. I talked about chords in the early episodes, and if you look, C and G, all we're missing is that E note to make a C major chord. So you can think, I want you to read, but you can think if it helps you a little bit, okay, my left hand is playing a C major chord without that middle E note. And that's just kind of, a little trick to help you learn the piece faster. Now, some of you might be struggling with playing, or having both your hands doing two separate things. And here's my secret. Don't think of it as one hand doing one thing and the other hand doing another. Think of it like this. If you're looking on the first measure here, think of C and G. You're only going to play that and hold it whenever you see that E note on top. So right when you strike it, just imagine striking those all together. And then you can just forget about your left hand because it's going to be holding it all the way through and focus on your right hand. Same thing for the next measure. You're going to play that C and that G note when you play an E note with your right hand. So think of playing two hands at the same time as just syncopation. When you're patting your head and rubbing your belly, as you pat your head, you're rubbing your belly at the same time, right? So you're not doing two different things. You're thinking of it as syncopation. When I'm doing one thing, I'm doing another thing with my right hand. And same thing applies to music, right? When we get to the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth measure, right? That second row there. Now it changes to a D and a G. So it's a little different from that C and a G. Now we're doing D and a G. And same thing. When you see that right hand, you're only going to play that D and that G when you play that F with your right hand. D and a G with the left hand, only when you play that F with the right hand. Or you can think of it as every time a new measure starts, I'm playing whole notes. I'm playing my left hand. So we got right on the E, 1, 2, right on the E, 2. And I would advise you just practice doing that. Just practice playing both hands at the same time. At first you might stumble. You might be a little out of sync, but try to just practice. I would just practice that 10 times. 1, 3, 4, 5. Maybe do it up here for a little bit. Maybe work your way down. Right? Just to get very comfortable with playing two hands at the same time, but really you're just syncopating your hands, right? When one hand's doing something, the other hand is doing something else. So let's move on to page 18, and look at me. I prepared you guys super well, right? They're introducing the C major chord. We already talked about major and minor chords, so you guys are already kind of ahead of the game there in that sense. So it's just talking about a chord, 3 or more notes played together. I already talked about that. That's it. That's really what page 18 is talking about. The entire thing is just a C major chord, and we already explored other chords, so we're kind of ahead in that sense. Next week we're going to go over page 19.